The Mexican-American War. It is the year of 1830. Although Mexico gained its independence from Spain in 1821, after over a decade of revolution and armed conflict, the young nation was in chaos. Looking at the map of the time, Mexico was much larger than it is today, one of the biggest countries in the world. However, it faced immense challenges. After years of war, there were no concrete plans or guidelines for governance. Internal power struggles, financial instability, and external threats loomed large. The Spanish still had a military presence in Cuba, posing a potential threat, while rebellions erupted across the country. Mexico was ill-prepared for international conflict, a vulnerability that would become critical just 2 decades later when war with the United States broke out in 1846. Meanwhile, the United States was expanding rapidly. Having acquired the Louisiana Territory from France, the nation pushed deeper into Native American lands. But for many, there was still more to gain. Mexico's internal problems made it an easy target. Several regions, including Texas, sought to break away. Texas declared independence from Mexico in 1836, but its status remained a point of contention. Initially, the United States hesitated to annex Texas, fearing the addition of a new slave state would deepen political divides. Meanwhile, Mexico refused to recognize Texas's independence and warned that annexation would lead to war. But in 1844, James K. Polk was elected president on a platform of expansion. He quickly moved to annex Texas, reoccupy the Oregon Territory, and set his sights on California and New Mexico. When Mexico rejected his offer to purchase these lands, tensions escalated. Polk ordered U.S. troops into a disputed region between the Rio Grande and Nueces River, territory both nations claimed. On April 25, 1846, Mexican cavalry attacked an American patrol, killing several soldiers. War had begun. In response, General Zachary Taylor led U.S. forces into battle, securing victories at Palo Alto and Resaca de la Palma. Polk addressed Congress, stating that Mexico has invaded our territory and shed American blood upon American soil. On May 13, 1846, Congress declared war. Though Mexico never formally declared war, the conflict was now unavoidable. Many questioned the U.S. motives. Future President Ulysses S. Grant, then an Army lieutenant, later admitted that the U.S. provoked the war to justify expansion. During this time, one figure stood out in Mexican politics: Antonio López de Santa Anna. A controversial leader, Santa Anna had switched sides multiple times, first opposing Mexican independence, then fighting for it, then supporting a monarchy, and later a republic. Now, as war erupted, he saw an opportunity. While in exile in Cuba, he secretly negotiated with both the Mexican and U.S. governments. He promised Mexico he would reclaim Texas, while secretly telling U.S. officials he would sell the contested land at a reasonable price. With U.S. assistance, Santa Anna returned to Mexico. Once back, however, he seized power and prepared for war. The war quickly spread. General Stephen Kearny led U.S. troops into New Mexico, where they took Santa Fe without a fight. California saw its own battles, but American forces gained control, with U.S. naval forces securing key ports along the coast. In northern Mexico, Zachary Taylor advanced south, defeating Mexican forces in hard-fought battles at Monterrey and Buena Vista. Santa Anna personally led 15,000 men against Taylor's smaller force, nearly overwhelming the Americans. But after heavy casualties and news of unrest in Mexico City, Santa Anna withdrew. Recognizing that the war could only end with a decisive blow, President Polk sent General Winfield Scott to lead a direct invasion of central Mexico. In March 1847, Scott launched the first major amphibious assault in U.S. history, landing in Veracruz. After a siege, the city fell, and Scott's army began its march toward Mexico City. Santa Anna attempted to block their advance at Cerro Gordo, but U.S. forces outmaneuvered and defeated the Mexican army. One by one, key battles unfolded: Contreras, Churubusco, Molino del Rey, and Chapultepec. On September 14, 1847, Mexico City fell. The war was all but over. With the U.S. occupying Mexico's capital, the question arose: should the United States annex all of Mexico? Some argued for it, but cultural differences, political concerns, and instability made full annexation unlikely. Instead, on February 2, 1848, the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo was signed. Mexico ceded Texas, California, and New Mexico, over 900,000 square miles of land, to the United States. In exchange, the U.S. paid Mexico $15 million, about $443 million today. A few years later, the Gadsden Purchase finalized the current U.S.-Mexico border. For the United States, the war was a success, expanding its territory dramatically. However, it also deepened national divisions over